Basketball.
Now what popped into your head?
Option A, ill, sports.
Option B, who even plays basketball?
Or option C, now that's the sport for me.
For the both of us, option C is the choice we'd have selected every single time.
But in the modern day, the Kuwaiti society would have selected option B. Who even plays basketball?
In the Kuwaiti community, not all sports are accepted and cherished for their true value.
All sports have something unique and intriguing about them.
And that's exactly what makes them so fun to play. All sports have specific attributes that attract a certain audience.
Sadly though, the attributes of basketball are not those that attract members of the Kuwaiti community.
It felt so painful to imagine how such a beautiful sport wouldn't be implemented into the future generations of Kuwait.
And that is why, ladies and gentlemen, that is exactly why Dawoud and I have decided to take a step in the right direction. We have decided to bring an end to this continuous spiral that will eventually result in a negative and hopeless outcome.
Now you're probably wondering, how did two 10th grade boys make a difference in the Kuwaiti society?
And the truth is, we didn't. At least not yet. You see, this year was all about us establishing and founding our camp. And don't get us wrong, we were successful in doing so.
The only thing though, is that our camp wasn't necessarily directed to the entirety of the Kuwaiti community, but to a smaller group, that being the youth of ASK.
We thought it would be very beneficial for us to start off our little experiment in a place that was close to our hearts, a place we could call home. And the process was still very difficult though, as a lot of time and effort was put into it. But once we got going, everything began to fall into place.
Before we move on, we would like to give thanks to two very hard-working men that helped make our process as smooth and successful as possible. Mr. Zvillen
and Mr. Parkinson
helped with the initiation of this project, as Jason and I do not have the ability to reserve school facilities and equipment.
And this is exactly where they came in. They made our lives so much easier, and we thank them for that. Now, once the overall concept of our project was completely understood by our mentors, Dawoud and I hit the road. We began to print out flyers and hung them all around ASK to advertise our camp.
The first week of our camp was rough, since not a lot of people attended.
But that's okay, we didn't necessarily expect to achieve our goal that quickly.
But we still continued to put all our time and effort.
And we mean all our time and effort.
To make this project as successful as possible.
As the weeks went on, more and more kids began to show up. Our project was lining up, the concept of it was spreading rapidly. More and more parents were sending their children to attend.
And this was great, as we knew that we were doing something right.
As a wise man once said, everything in life has two sides. Day
and night.
Light
and dark.
Good
and bad.
Despite our camp being very successful in many ways, it was still flawed.
To start off, there were many ways in which our camp was successful. These include our determination, our organization, our communication, as well as our overall ability to teach the kids the fundamentals of basketball.
Now, in terms of our determination, we made sure to show up to every single practice and ensured that each and every one was as high quality as possible.
In terms of our organization, we constructed a calendar and made sure that all parents had access.
In terms of our communication, we made sure to stay in touch with not only our mentors, but also the parents of the children attending, and received constructive criticism as well as feedback to make our camp even better.
Lastly, in terms of our overall ability to teach the kids the fundamentals of basketball, we made sure that we had the most recent and latest skills and techniques to teach.
On the other hand, though, our project did have some flaws, and these include, were there any?
I don't know, you tell me.
Well, now that I think about it, there was one major flaw. And that was the fact that we weren't necessarily able to impact the entirety of Kuwait.
But don't get us wrong, our journey is not over. We will continue as the years go on to expand our camp and branch out into larger areas of Kuwait.
We will continue to seemingly do so until we one day achieve our goal. Changing and altering the mindsets of the Kuwaiti society on the beautiful yet soon to be forgotten sport of basketball. Thank you.
Sorry.